The day after watching the documentary, I was listening to the Billy Idol audiobook, and I get to the part where he talks about how he wound up with Kiss's manager, and he's like, "Yeah, it happened because of this, this, and this." I'm like, "Oh, he has no idea that it's actually because of Bill."
Well, he didn't know. And Derwent Andrews, who's in the film, didn't know and figured it out after meeting Bill. And again, Bill's ability to get in there, side up to people, whisper in their ears, influence them, you know. And the reason why Bill was so obsessed with getting Bill Aucoin, his got because Bill Bartell was obsessed with Bill Aucoin, like as much as he was with the band, which is pretty weird, but like, you know, whispering in his ear, going, "You got to go check out Generation X. You got to go see this band." And Bill Aucoin never would have heard of Generation X had it not been for that, you know.
In the book, you talk about how important signing with Bill Aucoin as a manager was.
Yeah, for me, yeah, me personally, yeah, it ended up being super important. Yeah, because once Generation X was ending, I knew if I stayed in England, it's likely I'd end up just propping up a bar or something, because things go through really fast in London. I mean, an album can be over in three weeks or a month, whereas in the States, things are only just getting going after 2 months. They're not even People are only just starting to realise there is a record. Yeah, so I kind of knew if I stayed in England, it's likely nothing will happen because people have already seen you. They feel like you're over. They've seen you. So maybe if I go somewhere else and start again somewhere else, and of course the place that was obvious to me was New York because I just knew that because of CBGBs, because there's going to be other like-minded people who are into the same scene. And if I could go to America, maybe have some sort of success or find a new group and then bring that back to England, that would be the best thing to do. And that's what happened. And of course, it worked in spades because, yeah, I came back to England with Rebel Yell, with Eyes Without a Face, with Flesh of Fantasy, and Rebel, all those songs that then just exploded in England. So it worked, me going somewhere else and then coming back to England with a bit of success really worked because by the time I came back to England, we were number 4 in the charts with Eyes Without a Face. Number 6, the album was number 6. Rebel Yell was number 6. And we'd already had White Wedding on the first and Hot in the City on the first Billy Idol solo album that had done well in the States. So by the time we're going back, and we'd already played in England in 82 at Heaven or whatever it was. So we'd already, yeah, I was able to bring and with Steve Stevens, I was able to come back to England with this killer guitar player and show people you hadn't ended at all. In fact, you were revitalized and super carrying on what you'd started.
In the book, you talk about how it was through Chrysalis that he came in contact with the band, or you guys got in contact with him to become the manager.
Yeah, Tony James said to Chris Wright, "What about below? What about the chap who manages Kiss?" And Chris Wright said, "Well, actually, we know him." And we went, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yes, we know Bill Aucoin. We can get in touch with him." And then when we signed with Bill and everything, in the end, really, Bill really just wanted to manage me. I think he started off managing Generation X, but he really just wanted to manage me. And he said to me as well, he said about him, he knew there was this 24-hour music cable channel that was on the horizon. It wasn't called MTV yet, but he knew there was going to be this 24-hour a day cable channel, which I would be perfect for. And also, we'd already hooked up on the last Gen X album. We'd hooked up with Keith Forsey because I'd said to Bill Aucoin, what we need is a producer that knows rock and roll, but also knows for want of a better word, the disco world, the dance world. And then Bill, because Kiss were on Casablanca, he got hold of Giorgio Moroder. He didn't want to do it, but Keith Forsey, who was working with Giorgio, heard my tape and said to Giorgio, he wanted to produce people. Keith wanted to produce people, but he'd only done his own record, I think. He'd done Take Me to the Pilot, his own record. And So he said to Giorgio, "Can I do it, boss?" And Giorgio said, "Yeah, if you want to do it." So he came to England, and we did that Gen X album with him, which had Dancing with Myself on it. So I was coming to America with that sort of, once I got Steve Stevens in America, I hooked up with Keith Forsey, and we started to work in America, kind of carrying on what we had started with that last Gen X album.
Are you familiar with a guy by the name of Bill Bartell?
Well, I know a Bill Bartell who runs the Harley Davidson thing, but I don't.
No, this would have been Bill Bartell. He was a kid from Los Angeles, and he was Bill Aucoin's friend. And he was obsessed with Generation X.
Oh,
You were his favorite band. And he was the guy that got Bill Aucoin to first contact Chrysalis about managing you guys before you guys even, I guess, mentioned it.
wow.
There's a new documentary that came out called The Secret Lives of Bill Bartell. Fantastic documentary. This isn't a plug for it, just this is super interesting to me. And in the documentary, Durwood's in it. And he talks about how he found this out way later that it's actually Bill Bartell that was telling Bill Aucoin, you have to sign these guys. But then the ultimate irony is when the band's broken up, he blamed Bill Aucoin for breaking up the band and taking you away from his favorite band. So he always took it on the chin that he broke up Generation X, his favorite band.
Yeah, we were breaking up anyway, really. That's what was going on. The other two guys had left before we did the Gen X album, and really, um, I don't think Tony wanted to go. Tony James, I don't think he wanted to go and live in America. Like, like I didn't mind.